What's up, guys? My name is Jonathan Miller and I am the esports mentor. I help teach people how to start and advance their careers within the world of esports and gaming. Some of you might know me from the things that I've done within my career. I've been a professional player, esports broadcaster, co-founder of my own esports organization and digital marketing company. I've ran strategic partnerships for non-endemic brands who are entering the esports space that need help kind of valuing gaming content. And I've helped run marketing for Mark Cuban's esports team, Mavs Gaming. All of this for the past 14 years. And at the beginning, they told me it was a waste of my time. I shouldn't be doing it. I needed to go to college and get a real job. Have you heard that one before? Thought so. If you have, then stick around. I'm going to dive into my last 14 years and my journey within the industry. And all the content that you'll see moving forward from me will be centered around this topic. So if you're someone who would like to start or maybe advance their career within this industry, make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button for me. I would really appreciate it. And let's dive into my journey. My journey started when I was in middle school. A close friend of mine, his name is Austin. Shout out to Austin if you're watching this, buddy. Appreciate you. Austin showed me that you could play competitive Halo for money, basically. He showed me a tournament, I'll never forget actually. It was MLG Orlando 05. It was a midship CTF flag game on Halo 2, and it was Final Boss and Carbon. I don't remember exactly what the score was, but I do remember seeing players like Walshy and Shockwave and Gandhi. These were all people that eventually looking at them as like, man, these are like the coolest people on the planet. At the time, things like G4 were showing, SOCOM tournaments and small, like 20-minute bite-sized competitions, but they weren't really like league-based, right? You couldn't like become a pro in that necessarily. A handful of people who were making legitimate money playing video games or doing something of, similar, right? Like whether it was like a tournament player or whatever, but it was very, very few and far between. So when I learned what this was, I became obsessed. I was able to borrow a controller, a copy of the game, an Ethernet cord from my friend Austin. I don't come from money. As a matter of fact, I spent the majority of my childhood broke, but my parents found a way to rent me a Xbox from Rent-A-Center, and that's how I had everything that I needed. From there, like I said, I played hours and hours every single day, and eventually was able to go to my first tournament. Some of my locals here in the Nashville, Tennessee area, I met with them, and these are some of my closest friends in my life still to this day. So if any of you guys are watching, thank you so much. You guys were a big reason why I got to this point, but I was able to meet them, and we traveled to tournaments together. We, the classic, right? Hopping in a car, packing like 5-6 people into a sedan, staying 7 or 8 people in one hotel room, sleeping on the floor, sleeping in the bathroom tub, whatever it took, right? I used to eat like 6 McChickens a day. That was like my entire diet. I would eat like 4 to 6 McChickens and McDoubles for the entire weekend, and I would just survive on like $25 at McDonald's for the weekend. And we were happy to do it too. It didn't matter. Whatever it took to get there. My first tournament was in Columbus, Ohio in 2008. And then I went to dozens and dozens and dozens for the next couple of years until eventually cracking that professional status as the game was dying. So it was a little bit of unfortunate timing, but I was, playing at a pretty high level. Nothing that was like making me money until towards the end of Halo 4 when the game was dying and like Halo esports as a whole was having to pivot. A lot of people were leaving for Call of Duty, and I kind of followed suit. I got an opportunity to cast my first tournament. After I got done with that cast, which was an event that I was playing at that I got top 6 at, Twitter blew up after I had my first cast, and people were super, super supportive. It was really, really gratifying to get a chance to do that and do it well, but also hear so much positivity from my peers. Eventually from there, I switched over to Call of Duty like many others did, and did some casting for Call of Duty right at the height of that as well, like right as we were going into Call of Duty Ghosts. It went really well for me for a couple of years at that level, and then eventually was able to kind of parlay my career not only as a player who I had crossed paths with so many, really incredible people like Ninja, Nick Merckx, Enable, Flamesword, just to name a few. Being a player and broadcaster and building all those connections gave me a lot of stability when launching my own brands. One, I kind of knew what it should look like as both a professional player, as a consumer in the esports space, right? I knew what that needed to look like, and I had several years experience of seeing that done both really well and really not so well. So I launched my own esports organization, co-founded with a few friends. And then a couple years, probably like 2 years later, co-founded my own marketing company that specialized in incentive marketing with a couple of my other friends. And from there, just kind of saw opportunities and grew on business opportunities from the connections and networking that I had made. You know, going to conventions, linking up with old friends who were now really, really big content creators. So I was very lucky to kind of grow up within esports, which is kind of how I like to frame it, where, you know, a lot of the people who had established some really, really big careers, you know, networking with them and then kind of parlaying that into other relationships and kind of going from there. Ultimately, I think one of the best pieces of advice that I could give you is that networking is the single most important thing that you can do well. You can afford to lose money, but you cannot afford to lose a good relationship. Keep that in mind at, you know, doing whatever you do. Make sure that you're the type of person that, you know, you want to be around. You're the type of person that you would want to be friends with, and try to add value in every relationship where you can, because that will really take you really far. And it was a big reason why I saw and continue to see some of the opportunities that I even see today, because I was able to add value first before asking for anything in the people that I've met and established friendships with. From starting my own brand to working random odd ends jobs, like I've worked at Amazon and Best Buy throughout a lot of this time period as a broadcaster, and starting my own esports org and stuff like that. I wasn't taking a paycheck in many of those situations. I was having to work a full-time job and then do all of those things with my extra time. And then eventually I was able to start establishing myself as a legitimate professional in the space, and then got some really awesome opportunities that were paying me full-time salary, that were, you know, paying all my bills, and me not having to work a random full-time job on top of doing the things that I loved. That was a really big tipping point for me in my career, that I was able to set that up. And then obviously getting the opportunity with the Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban to help manage marketing for Mavs Gaming was a really big opportunity. And the experience with the Dallas Mavericks and Mavs Gaming was really great because I got to see the corporate side of what marketing and traditional ad buying and corporate, just the corporate side of business. It was a perfect marriage between myself and the Dallas Mavericks, because at the time they're looking for ways to value their esports media, and I was looking for a crash course in what the corporate world and corporate business world was like. That 2 years that I spent with the Dallas Mavericks was one of the most valuable series of time that I had, because it allowed me to, you know, cross paths with like the Yum Company and like Chime and all these like massive brands and entities and big influencers and professional athletes, and kind of giving them a crash course to what esports is and kind of how they can navigate it. So that's where I first learned that the education side of esports is something that I'm really excited for, because it's something naturally that I'm just naturally good at, and something that I've kind of slowly built a career towards. And from the Mavs, the past couple of years, I've got a chance to do strategic partnerships for a nonprofit 501c called Rise Above the Disorder that helps people afford mental health care. Working with content creators that had mental health as a passion, that wanted to help raise money for our cause was awesome. It was a really great experience. And then from there, working with Belong Gaming Arenas, which was a network of LAN centers here in the US and in the UK, helping develop communities, build grassroots experiences, and again, really focused heavy on the education side of esports and helping, you know, school districts and faculty and teachers and students understand what opportunities are here for them, which brings me to today. So now, looking at this as a whole, I'm really passionate about the education side and teaching people. So that's what I'm leaning into here. If you are somebody who is looking to get started in the esports space, or maybe you just need a little bit of help along the way, maybe it's based around resumes or opportunities, or maybe you feel a little stuck, you're really not sure what the next step is, I have created a full course guide called the Esports Mentor Program. I also wrote a book, and then of course the content here is going to continue to come, freebies all over the place. I'm here to help you guys. So if you're interested there, please again, drop a subscribe on the channel, leave a like on the video, talk to me in the comments, let me know what you guys would like to see from me moving forward, and I'll leave a link in the description for everything that I talked about here today. So until the next time, guys, see ya.